Hey, everybody, it's John Halpin with Ryan Fowler. Like every Tuesday, welcome to today's edition of Pickwatch Live. We're going to take a look at the Week 16 lines because we got our first look at them. First, let's talk about Saints-Panthers. Cam Newton not looking too sharp.
Might be the understatement of the season, John.
Yeah.
I mean, there are video games where I remember where you got like a super boost or something, and you could go. It reminds me of Mario Tennis where you do the big smash hit. He goes back like this, and he throws it 8 yards into the ground. Probably not 100% healthy.
No.
And I mean, I think at this point you just need Luke Kuechly to not only call every play on defense, but call every play on offense too, because he was the best part of that game yesterday. Not Christian McCaffrey, Luke Kuechly.
Luke Kuechly was tremendous as always. So, yeah, that was pretty great. The offense last night, one thing about last night's game, other than the Cam Newton issues, which are, I think they're going to start, I think they're going to sit him.
Yeah.
I think it's at that time. The shoulder seems bad. They've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. I think now that they're out of the playoff chase, they're going to sit him down. The Saints offense, look, I know the Panthers D played well. Saints offense, we're on 4 weeks in a row now where they're not looking too hot.
I couldn't say it better myself. And I'm sitting there, and I almost texted you, but I figured let's keep the conversation fresh for this moment. We're sharing a brain on that because the only moments where I felt like they had any sync was towards the end of the game when Kamara got really involved. There were a couple of runs by Ingram early on, but this is the problem, and this is why they went out and tried to get Dez to insert him in there. They were hoping on a flyer and a miracle on Brandon Marshall because Michael Thomas is getting blanketed. They can't get him the ball, and everybody else is Dan Arnold. I mean, it's just you can't force it in there when you don't have other targets. And Alvin Kamara, God bless him, picking up that first down before Tommy Lee Lewis blew it. That was one of the best plays of the weekend, I think. Putting the foot in the ground, cutting back, and I think he chopped up Thomas Davis on that play, if I remember correctly. And again, a veteran defender who's seen it all. He put his foot in the ground, cut it up. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It's clunky. It's out of sync. They're if they were 5 steps ahead during their winning streak, they're about 2-3 steps behind right now. But they're still better than the Rams in the NFC as far as I'm concerned, because Jared Goff looks like garbage, and the defense of those Saints is going to be their saving grace. Which who would have thought we'd say that?
The Bears are going to be a trendy Super Bowl pick when playoffs start. Watch the way the Saints and the Rams are playing. Well, the Bears, and actually not for me.
For you love yourself some Bears. But again, if you want to be the Bears as a trendy Super Bowl pick, again, it's all defense because Trubisky. It's funny. I have heard less about Jordan Howard this year than I ever thought I would. It's all the defense, Mac, and then Tariq Cohen. Jordan Howard's kind of been weirdly phased out as the guy in the backfield. I hear more about Cohen than Howard.
You do. The last couple of weeks he has gotten a little more involved though. But yeah, I agree with you. It's been interesting with them. But yeah, I think they're going to be a trendy pick just because the Saints and the Rams, look, we talk about this every week about how, when I pick, I look and I go, all right, that team's probably not going 15-1. So where the loss is going to come, teams go through slumps. They don't just blow people out all year long. There's ups and downs, even for the elite teams, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're exhausted come week 15.
Yeah.
You had training camp, 4 weeks of preseason, which really needs to be cut down to 3-2. And then you're in week 15. You're gassed, and you still have to save something for the playoffs. And I think that's where you could see Todd Gurley throttle it down this week, where they probably don't need him to beat Arizona, that type of thing.
Right. And he's, by the way, Gurley day-to-day with the knee. The inflammation is what they're calling it. All right. So this week, straight up, I was 11-5. I was 8-7-1 against the spread. So I'm 107-111 for the season. Ryan, 9-7 straight up, 6-9-1 against the spread. He's 114-102 for the season. He's still ahead of me though. Against the spread, Ryan is 8th in the standings. I'm 16th. So I moved up a little bit. I wasn't too unhappy with that.
I have a lot of teams to chew out per the norm. So.
I'm trying to think of who I was angriest at among the losses. There's really not, other than a general level of disgust with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
There's no one I'm looking at going, oh, I almost had that one.
And I texted you about that. I go, Blake Bortles has to start, right?
Apparently not, Doug Marrone.
Doug Marrone's really interested in having his winners free.
So on NFLPickwatch.com. I'm going to go to the, you know what? Let's screen share. You ready?
Screen share.
Screen share. Let's go there. Do you see it? There we go. All right. Come on. Experts against the spread. Let's go. Come on, Paige. There we go. All right. So right now, Ben Volin from the Boston Globe still just up top. He extended his lead a little bit. He got a one-game edge this week over Jamie Eisenberg. So now Ben Volin is he's 3 games ahead. 4 in the loss column, as we say in baseball. Mike Clay's third. You dropped off. Let's scroll down a little. All right, you dropped off a little, but you still got third place in your sights, I think.
I was a game behind Clay after the Texans game on Saturday.
Yeah. So where did you fade here? I mean, you were 2-1 through the Saturday games.
Oh, I forced the issue with Green Bay, and if that's who I'm mad at, Rodgers is first in goal or in the red zone on 2 back-to-back possessions to end that Bears game. That should have been an easy backdoor cover, and he throws his first pick in an eon, and that because again they just don't have the receivers that they need. And Randall Cobb left that game with an injury.
By the way, looking at what I'm doing, if you can see the screen right now, you see the favorites button next to the teams?
Yes.
I could save my favorites. Like if I said, hey, my favorites are Ryan Fowler and Mike Clay, that's my favorites right now. So I unclick the favorites. Now I'm re-clicking the favorites.
Okay.
So I can save my favorites down here, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Now click here to view my favorites. And here you have it. I got you 2 guys.
Very cool.
Right?
Very cool.
So Sean and the development team just still killing it.
Cranking out updates on a weekly basis.
Right. So that's another great feature. So if you basically don't want to look at my picks every week, you can kind of avoid me and get your 5 favorites and be pretty happy. So that's another one of those things. All right. So back to what we were talking about. Ben Volin, slight edge over Jamie Eisenberg. Ryan 8th, I'm 16th. Josh is 36th. The best record this week, actually the top 3 records were all from Monday Morning Quarterback. Check this out.
Jacob Feldman the last 2-3 weeks, if you click on his, he's been on fire.
Yeah. So Jacob Feldman, Gary Gramling, Max Meyer, basically they were the top 3 records against the spread. Let me look at Jacob Feldman, see what he's doing.
That smells fishy, but whatever.
Since you mentioned it. No, 2018. There you go. So, yeah, last few weeks. Look at all that green. Last week, 12-4. This week, 11-5. Pretty strong. So he's making a good late kick here.
Peter King is picking for them.
All right. Straight up, Dave Richard, Jamie Eisenberg, Elliot Harrison, and the Odd Shark picks, 148-74, all tied for the top spot. I am tied for 22nd. You are 37th, and Josh is 52nd. I am 6 games off the lead, so I don't think I'm going to catch those guys. I'm going to get rid of the screen share for now. All right. Otherwise, let's see. For the fans, so straight up, there's the username. All right, I'm going to have to spell it out. Sumtintanzi, SUMTYNNAZTE, 11-5, leads the entire site, including the experts, 151-70 straight up. Username Imidre, IMMIDRE, went 8-8, but still leads against the spread at 121 and 89. So way to go. All right,
congrats.
Let's get to this week. All right. Before we do that, he's at Freelance Fowler on Twitter. I'm at Halpin37. Our main account is at Pickwatch. As we always say, this show is archived on YouTube after we broadcast it live. So if you're watching us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel where we have individual game discussions. That's usually helpful if you want to say, hey, what's going on? Redskins, Titans. Let me hear what they have to say about that. Josh and I will do that show on Friday. We'll have it later Friday afternoon. And these full shows are also archived there. But if you're watching us on YouTube, please, you can always get the live stream on Facebook. So check that out. Tuesday, Friday mornings. All right. Into the playoffs too. So that's pretty cool. So should be doing that. All right, let's go. Week 16. So scheduling this week, no Thursdays, no Thursday games. We're done with that. 2 Saturday games. What do you think Monday, Christmas Eve game? That's a little
odd
push, right? I mean, some leagues in the past have completely avoided that. I know I think the NHL and the NBA still say, yeah, Christmas Eve is kind of off limits. We're not doing it.
But then they come back and play on Christmas Day.
I know. And I know it's the way the week falls because it's Monday night.
Right.
But
yeah,
anyway.
it is a little weird.
Yeah. So hopefully the Broncos players will get home by Christmas morning to, hang out. Okay, let's go Saturday. Redskins, Titans. Titans favored by 10 at home. Over under is 37. The Titans 5-1 at home so far, 3-5 on the road. They did have that touchdown against the Giants, and their defense did the Remember the Titans dance.
That was awesome.
Which was pretty cool.
I appreciate the celebrations this year. I know some people are tired of it. I will say anytime a team gets an interception and takes the group shot, done with that. Every other celebration.
Are you done with that? You don't like that anymore?
They do it every time.
I know.
If you do something like the Titans, totally on it. But I mean.
Yep. Fair enough. All right. So the Titans have won. We complained all year that they've been inconsistent. And they have.
Yeah,
they've now won 3 in a row and 5 out of 7. They had in the middle, though, they got blown out by Indy and Houston. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you don't know what to make of them. And then these 3 wins, Jets, Jags, Giants, meh. So no superstars there. But and all of a sudden, superstar Derrick Henry are home as a huge favorite against the Redskins and their 4th-string quarterback, Josh Johnson, who did play okay the other day. I mean, I think that was more of a testament to the Jags being miserably bad than the Redskins being good. But Josh Johnson was not horrible.
Yeah, I mean, again, look at that total, 37, over under 37. The Jaguars and Redskins last week managed to hit the under on 36.5. Keep that in mind when you're looking at this game. Sure, Derrick Henry rushes another 25 to 30 times, gains 150 yards. I'll take the Titans because they'll shorten the game and they'll win 13-3 and maybe push. But I think that's too big of a number. I mean,
do you really?
I don't know. It's the Titans. Like, again, I have no idea what's going to show up. And Josh Johnson, because we have 0 sample size of him for 7 years, Vernon Davis left that game against the Jaguars with a concussion. Jordan Reed missed last week, and who knows if they shut him down. Adrian Peterson seems bored, just wants to collect a paycheck to the end of the year. They don't really have. He
wasn't bad on Sunday, though.
They don't have any weapons on the passing game. Their defense seems meh. No idea on this one.
I think the Titans covered. The game I thought we were going to get from the Jags, I think we're going to get from the Titans. I think we're looking at 24-3 or something like that.
Marcus Mariota didn't even hit 90 yards passing in a rainstorm. Congratulations. Yeah. The Titans are must-see TV.
So, by the way, playoff hunt, the Titans and Colts are both 8-6. And the 6th seed right now is the Ravens, right? So we could have, I was going to mention this later, but I'm going to mention it now instead. If the way I got it figured, if the Ravens lose Saturday night, which we're going to get to in a minute, at the Chargers, then we could have Colts-Titans next Sunday night for the 6th seed.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the Titans to upset the Colts because nothing makes sense in the end.
Or if the Steelers lose and they're 8-6-1, then we could have a different thing going on. And the Steelers are playing at the Saints, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So there's certainly some playoff. The Titans are fighting for a playoff spot here. I think they're going to be motivated. I think the Titans are going to cover because I think the Redskins. I think Josh Johnson getting them to score 13, 14 points 2 weeks in a row might be unlikely.
I'll take the under.
Under 37. Oh, wow. Okay. You might be right.
Yeah.
I mean, the game, the Jags Redskins was similar, and that was under.
Over under 25 carries for Derrick Henry.
Over because I think they're going to be winning big.
But wouldn't they just save him if they need him for week 17?
No. I mean, they're going to run the clock and
keep grinding it out with him.
Bell cow. I mean, that's what they did on this week.
Maybe they were just saving him.
Fun stat I found yesterday. And this was, by the way, anyone who listens to my fantasy advice and I told you to bench Derrick Henry this past week, I'd like to apologize because I did that to a few people. Derrick Henry had 33 carries on Sunday against the Giants. He had not been on the field for 33 snaps for the entire season before that game.
Boom. Roasted.
I mean, I guess they've changed, Jalen Lewis is a good back too.
Yeah, and Saquon getting shut down all of a sudden. I know it was wet, but Derrick Henry didn't seem to have a problem with it.
No.
So maybe the Titans are going to go up against an aging AP now, who hasn't had a good game that I can remember in a while. I mean, does AP get over 60 yards rushing? Maybe.
I'd say probably not. I mean, they'll try. I mean, if he gets 3 yards a carry, he might. Well, you know what? I think they're going to be losing, so I don't know how much they're going to run.
And then you rely on Josh Johnson.
All right.
13-3.
13-3. All right. I'm going to take the Titans, I'm pretty sure. Ravens, Chargers. So Chargers by early line, Chargers by 4.5 at home, over under 44.5. Ravens have won 4 out of 5. They're running the ball.
Ravens.
Lamar Jackson's Ravens. They're running, right?
Yes.
And it's hard to look at an opposing defense and figure out how they're going to defend, even if they're a good run defense, because this is a different animal here. This is not just, hey, we're going to run the ball with our lead back and his sidekick. It's, we're going to do, read options and stuff.
All day.
Yeah. So, and they're just going to run constantly, and the quarterback is going to run a ton. So, their only loss in this 5-game stretch was the overtime loss at Kansas City, which they just about had them beat and gave up that 4th down touchdown. The wins in the Ravens streak, though, this is what I pointed out about the Giants last week, and then I stupidly picked the Giants anyway. The 4 out of 5 games that they won at home against Cincinnati, at home against Oakland, at Atlanta, and home for Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And not a bunch of gigantic wins here either.
And if Tampa Bay closes in the red zone, they lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do they cover, the Ravens lose that game, but they couldn't convert inside the 10. It was the same problem that we ran into with the Packers the other day.
Chargers have won 10 out of 11. They've had a lot of close wins lately, whether it's good teams or bad teams. They won against some good teams lately. I think this spread's too small. Like, I like the Ravens. I like what they're doing. I like the Lamar Jackson era here and how fun and different it is. Their defense is obviously strong, really strong, one of the best. But I don't know that, I just don't know how. I think the Chargers are solidly the better team in this game. I don't think 4.5 is giving them enough credit.
What if Gordon and or Allen does not play?
I might change my mind a bit.
Yeah, there's some variables there because, and that's what's so that Thursday game last week of the Chargers and the Chiefs, where you lose Keenan Allen, that game changed, and you already didn't have Eckler, so your backfield was completely shot. Rivers seemed really lost, and that's why I commend him for the way that they came back in that game, because you lose Keenan Allen. I mean, you need possession receivers in this league. Look at Denver right now. They don't have Emmanuel Sanders. Look when Doug Baldwin was out of the lineup for Seattle. Their offense flow got just completely thrown off, and I think the same kind of holds true here with Rivers and Keenan Allen. If Allen plays, I like him to cover the 4.5. If he doesn't, I'm going to have to think about it, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that line move a little bit. But yeah, I like the Chargers at home in this one.
All right, and the early word is that the Chargers are, look, it's Tuesday morning, so we don't know a lot. The Chargers seem hopeful that Allen, Gordon, and Eckler are all going to play. And I think the hint from the Chargers was that if last week's game was Sunday instead of Thursday, Gordon might have been able to play.
That's huge. That's huge because you need a consistent rush against the Ravens, because if you become too one-dimensional, they're going to load up against you. And that's tricky. And I think the travel with Lamar Jackson going through this for the first time, it's a lot when you go
to out west.
I mean, they've been all over the place the last year.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it gets to the point where the run option isn't there, and they bring Flacco back in, because it is kind of weird to know Joe Flacco is quote-unquote healthy and him not being out there.
All right, let's go to Sunday. First, Cowboys-Bucks. Cowboys favored by 7, over-under 46.5. Cowboys are 6-1 at home. Bucks are 1-6 on the road. seems telling right off the bat. The Cowboys had won 5 straight before getting shut out at Indy. Cowboys injuries, Zach Martin status, we're not sure yet. Saying I don't know what David Irving his status is about coming back this week. I know this was about the time frame, but I guess we got to wait till Wednesday to see the news with him. But this game here, I'm not going to beat up on the Cowboys too much for that loss. I mean, getting shut out is kind of bad, but they walked in, they played a team that's probably of similar quality. They were on the road. Their offensive line, their defensive line, which has been very good, got pushed around
by Marlon Mack.
Right, but by the Colts line, which got Ryan Kelly back, Nelson's. Their offensive line's really good.
Which is funny to say because Luck got killed for all those years.
Yeah, but I'm not. That game did not make me question the Cowboys any more than I would have already, if that makes sense.
No, and I think that's fair, and I think the Buccaneers' pass defense is so bad that Amari Cooper could have a huge bounce-back game, and that's what they need to balance out what Zeke does. That being said, Buccaneers score points. I know they didn't close out stuff against the Ravens. In the Ravens' defense, especially when you go bend, do not break is better than the Cowboys, and I know the Cowboys defense is good. The Cowboys defense did hold Andrew Luck under 200 yards, and I know Mack had a big day, but to hold Andrew Luck under 200 yards regardless is quite an accomplishment. I'll lean Cowboys right now to cover the 7, but I'm going to think about that because Jameis does score points in bunches. And Mike Evans, this is what's lost. And I know there was some stuff on the ticker the last few days and on Twitter. Mike Evans has this great lost season because the Buccaneers are so bad. But that guy, from a consistency standpoint and a fantasy standpoint, is amazing. I mean, that guy goes in week in and week out. Him and Devontae Adams kind of getting muted their performances this year because of the record of their team.
Yeah, I love Devontae Adams. Absolutely love him.
Catches everything.
Yep. The Bucs here. So they've lost 6 out of 8. The 2 wins were at home against the Niners and the Panthers. Just for some context here. I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick the Cowboys to cover.
Everything has to be a touchdown. If it could be 6.5, I'd be all over the Cowboys.
Right. Just right on the number.
These odds makers are just too fun.
That's why they're in business. That's what they do. All right. Pats Bills.
Here we go again with the Pats Bills and the crazy spread.
Pats 12.5 favorite, over under 45. So the Pats are, I said last week, we talked about it. I don't think the Pats are the same dominant Pats that they've been in past years. And we talked about that, and they're not. And that's okay. They're still good. Yeah. They've struggled on the road. They're 6-0 at home, though.
Right.
The Bills are 2-5 on the road. Their wins were the big game at Minnesota, which was a weird one, and blowing out the Jets, which was another weird one. Their backfield is a disaster right now. I mean, they might be down to 4th string, depending on how LaShawn McCoy or Ivory comes back, because Marcus Murphy's done. I think he dislocated his elbow or something.
Mm-hmm.
The Josh Allen experience has been fun to watch. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it's especially good, but it's entertaining. For a fantasy standpoint, it's fantastic.
Right.
Which, we talk about fantasy football sometimes, but real life football, he's inaccurate. He runs at any sign of trouble, which enables him to make plays sometimes, but generally this is not a good offensive team. I like the Bills often this year, especially at home. Mm-hmm. I think the Pats are going to thump them.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't. I think there needs to be some semblance of balance. And even if you get McCoy back, he's at 75% or better because he always drags his body to the finish line year in, year out. Chris Ivory, God bless him. I thought that guy could have had a good career, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy throughout his entire career. No. So it doesn't matter who's in the backfield. The Patriots are going to exploit whatever. Because I was going to say they're one-dimensional, but Allen can't throw except to Foster every once in a while. So it's just like, where does the offense come? And it's not going to come. And if this was 12.5 at Buffalo, I'd probably take Buffalo to cover the 12.5. But even the Bills defense is just starting to wear down a little bit. They lost that linebacker last week that we joked about, Milano. And if you can't, like that Lions game, Lions just want to lose, and they can't cover a 2 against the Lions when the Lions don't even care. I'll take Patriots to cover the 12.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm with you. Unless the Patriots are even worse than we thought. But I don't know.
Possible. But I mean, Brady plays with this chip on his shoulder when he gets down. So those bounce back games are really statements of, okay, we need to get this right because we have 2 weeks before the postseason.
Right. Okay. Falcons, Panthers. Right now, the morning line here that we saw is Panthers by 4. This is Tuesday morning again. Panthers by 4. Over under 50. Folks, get the Falcons right now, because if Cam Newton sits, which if I had to bet right now, I bet that Cam Newton is not going to play. And I think they're going to shut him down. And if that's the case, this line's going to move. So if you want,
the backup's name is
Taylor Heineke.
And he can't cover the Falcons 4?
I don't think so. He's not that good.
Every backup quarterback that's come in this year has covered a spread. Everyone. Okay. You look at Daniel, you look at Johnson, you look at these random guys coming off the bench, and they cover spreads. That's where I get a little itchy about the Falcons. They destroyed the Cardinals, as they should have. But, man, to go – like, they don't care anymore. They got – as I put in my article last week, they got their building on something for next year win. Ito Smith, as you note in your bullets here, is out. So they're down to Coleman, and I don't know who their next running back is. Doesn't matter. I see where you want to go with the Falcons to cover against the backup. But backups this year have shocked the world. They have all been really tricky.
The Panthers did not invest much in this backup. It was
and the Redskins invested in Josh Johnson.
No, I know.
He just covered against the Jaguars on the road.
Yeah, like I said, I just think this line's going to move. But if Taylor Heineke starts this line, this probably be more like a pick 'em, I would think. So, and put it this way. How about this? If you like the Falcons, get them early. Fair?
What do we like about the Falcons these days? Are we judging it off of what they did in Green Bay and Arizona?
No.
Are we judging it because – but, like, Cam Newton's that valuable?
Yes.
To Carolina?
Oh, yeah.
How? What has he done that makes him valuable that the spread will move if he's not active?
I mean, it's a huge drop-off at quarterback. It's enormous, even though he hasn't played well lately. But he hasn't played well lately, and they've been losing every game. I mean, early in the season, before he was, the shoulder was bothering them much, they were 6-2, and the offense was doing pretty well.
Are they going to shut down McCaffrey too?
No. I mean, Cam's shoulder is pretty clearly hurt, and I bet he's going to have surgery. And it's just, you look last night, it got to the point, he was bouncing 10-yard passes.
I've never seen that before.
It was awful. I mean, it was obvious that there was a problem. So anyway.
I thought we called that 4 weeks ago, and we're not doctors.
Right. It's just, it's because it popped up when they benched him. They pulled him for the Hail Mary for the second time.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That did get magnified quick.
But all year, they haven't been throwing downfield that much.
No.
So, but it's getting worse.
And I know we got to wrap this segment up, this game preview, but didn't he have shoulder surgery last year?
He's had it before, yeah.
No, but this past last off season.
I don't remember.
I think he did. Went in there and cleaned something up.
Right.
What did they clean up? Nothing.
All right, so the Falcons, by the way, they're 1-5 on the road. They lost 5 straight before beating Arizona, which is no big deal. You mentioned but like I said, if you were predisposed to pick the Falcons, you would want to get them early. As the line moves, let's keep an eye on it. All right.
Julio Jones has evolved, which is nice to see.
Yep. Jags, Dolphins. Dolphins home by 5, over under 39.5. The Jags have lost 9 out of 10. Leonard Fournette's ankle sounds like it's okay. He didn't play. He only touched the ball once in the second half. He said it was because the coaches wanted to get a look at his backup, and they said no. He's hurt.
Marone said that too.
Marone
said that too.
I mean, come on.
I know.
I
think it was the most fun, the most amusing post-game.
Like, what the hell? The guy's played 5 games.
Yeah, right.
Get a look at his backup because
you
drafted him 4th overall a few years ago. You give him the ball 25 times a game and he's healthy. But we need to see his backup now.
And you have T.J. Yeldon and Carlos Hyde. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and Carlos Hyde, you just traded 5th-round pick for, and he's a healthy scratch. Great job going on down there. Following up the AFC Championship appearance. All right. You texted me, I think Sunday, said Bortles has to start next week, right? Wrong. Doug Marrone says Cody Kessler still got the ball. He's worse than Bortles, right?
Associated Press report went back and looked. 1 touchdown drive and 31 possessions for Cody Kessler. Hugh Jackson is just building on top of his resume right now.
Okay, so looking at this game, the Dolphins are 7-7. Now,
I like the Dolphins.
I thought all year that they're probably not as good as their record. But I thought all year that they were a bad team, and they're obviously not. They're 7-7. They're not a bad team.
Right.
How are they only favored by 5 against this train wreck of a Jaguar team?
And this one opened at 3.5. I wrote because I look at the opening line Sunday night while that Sunday night game's going on, and I see 3.5. I'm like, get early line. And
right.
By morning, it went to 5, and I'm like, But it doesn't matter. Frank Gore, he's probably done for the season with a sprained foot. So now you have Kenyon Drake, who's battling a shoulder injury. So pay attention to that. And then we saw that breakout touchdown against the Vikings on Sunday from Kalen Ballage. Oh, yes. Hit yourself. Dude, I looked at this is where football gets a little weird. But I was like, 6'2", 230. I mean, this dude's a tank. When you look at his biopic on his player bio page, you're like, whoa, imposing type approach there. But, I mean, to break that against the Vikings shows that obviously there's some talent there. I like the Dolphins to cover the 5.
So, Kalen Ballage, by the way, he was among some of the fantasy analysts, he was kind of a trendy preseason sleeper.
Oh, I heard people peacocking on Twitter after he hit the
Yeah, finally. Well, it's funny. Jeff Erickson, my colleague at RotoWire, said something about, hey, all those people who had Kalen Ballage at MFL 10s finally got it to pay off in week 15. So it's just kind of funny.
Got to keep digging for those diamonds.
Kalen Balaj, 6'2", 237, and ran a 4.44 at the combine.
Dude's a tank, and obviously quick.
He runs apparently very upright. Is the knock.
Did you see his foot? It's so funny you mentioned that because I was watching him finish the touchdown run, and I'm like, he almost looks like a track sprinter at the end.
Yeah.
Like he had the back arch of Michael Johnson in Atlanta, and I'm like, well, that's kind of interesting. So yeah.
Can I please get a little Kenyon Drake, Adam Gase? I've been waiting for 15 weeks. Can I please get a little Kenyon Drake? All right. So anyway, this game. So we're in. We're taking the Dolphins.
Yes.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite pick of the week.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And the Dolphins are unstoppable at home against the spread. I don't have the number, but I think it was 7-2 last 9 games against.
Let me check the Dolphins against the spread.
At home.
You brought it up.
Legit.
Here it is. Pulling up the page. Dolphins at home against the spread are, well, they're 6-1 straight up, 6-1 at home against the spread. So there you go. All right. Giants, Colts. Colts favored by 9.5. Over under 46.5. It's at Indy. Colts have won 7 out of 8. Shut out Dallas the other day, as we talked about. The Giants, I think the Odell Beckham status is going to be a big factor here.
Completely agree.
Because the Giants had actually been playing pretty well.
Yes.
Over the past month.
They had won 4 or 5.
And look, I know they played without Beckham against the Redskins last week and they destroyed them, which that to me was a shrug my shoulders, NFL stuff happens kind of game. And then this week against the Titans, they were helpless, which I think could happen again if Beckham's out.
Yeah, if Beckham's out, I think the Colts can cover. But if you have that threat of Beckham, Saquon just completely AWOL this past week. But the Titans were like, it's raining, it's sloppy. Eli stinks. His offensive line's not that great. If we stop Saquon, they're not going to be able to score enough to hang with us, and that MO worked, right? So now you go to the Colts. You're inside. You have a fast track. If Beckham and Saquon are on the same field, I think the Giants can easily cover that. If you look back at some of the games that the Giants have played in a dome this year when they've been at full strength, they've competed. So I like the inside factor here if you get Beckham back to cover the 9.5. If not, I just don't know that if they have enough weapons. Saquon would have to rush for 175. And I don't know if you're doing that against the Colts. They just shut down Lamar Miller 2 weeks ago. I shouldn't say they didn't shut down Ezekiel Elliott, but they slowed him. And they've gotten to the quarterback. And we know if anything is a tragic flaw of the Giants, it's the inability to keep Eli upright because he runs into the pass rush. And the Colts have 11 sacks over the last 3 weeks. So there's just a lot of things going against the Giants if they don't have Odell as a threat to break up the Saquon touches.
I agree with you. So this is a wait and see for both of us, it sounds like. Texans, Eagles. This is interesting. Eagles by a point. Over under 45. Some serious playoff implications going on here. So the Texans right now are the 2nd seed. And if they want to keep that 2nd seed, they probably need to win this because if they fall into a tie with the Pats beat them early in Foxborough. So the Texans have a lot of incentive here. The Eagles, 7-7 right now. If they win out, who do the Eagles have in week 17? Must be the Redskins, right?
Sounds right.
So the Eagles right now, 7-7. The Vikings are the 6th seed at 7-6-1. The Vikings have the Lions on the road and then the Bears at home. So the Vikings do not have an easy road here. If the Eagles win out, they could do this. So this is a big game. Say that.
We talked about off the top how the Saints offense has looked out of sync the last 3-4 weeks. And I think the same can be said of the Texans. It's weird to say because, again, if anybody watched the flow of that Jets game, Texans on the road are just a different team. You give them at home, I love the Texans in this spot, -3 or whatever it would be. But on the road, Deshaun Watson, when he gets pressured, yuck. He loses all confidence in his ability, and we know he can run, but he's trying to force the pass so much that he makes terrible decisions. The clock in his head is not there yet. I think he needs a little bit more experience to figure out the clock in his head when he gets the pass rush against him. because they should have destroyed the Jets, and they needed DeAndre Hopkins' vice-like hands to make some plays late, and then they gifted a backdoor cover when they went for it on fourth on their own 20. Yep. I don't like the Texans in this spot. I think Foles puts it together to get a 3-point win. I'll take the Eagles.
Okay. I think I'm going to take the Eagles too. And as a New York Giants fan who hates every other team in the NFC East, I like the idea of Nick Foles winning out so that there will be quarterback chaos in Philly. I think that'd be great.
What if he was the guy all along?
Oh, they're better. Of course, shockingly, Skip Bayless started that on Sunday night on Twitter.
Did he really?
Oh, don't they look so much better? They would have been so much better off if Foles had been the quarterback all along. I mean, it was like clockwork. It was the funny thing. Rich Eisen tweeted out.
Who's great. I love Rich Eisen.
At some point in the game, tweeted out that some point very soon, the very hot take will emerge that the Eagles would have been better off with Nick Foles. And it was literally 2 minutes later that Skip Bayless did that.
Hey, those $5 million paychecks don't get cash with Love and Carson Wentz.
Yeah. All right, so we both like the Eagles. Lamar Miller, ankle injury to be determined. So there you go. Vikings-Lions. We talked about the Vikings, and the Eagles needed the Vikings to lose. Vikings favored by 5 at the Lions, over under 43.5. Vikings are 2-4-1 on the road. Look, Vikings have their destiny in their hands. They can win out for a playoff berth. Last week they fired their offensive coordinator. The supposed reason was that Mike Zimmer wanted to run the ball more.
And they ran.
Jackpot against the Dolphins. They ran, and Dalvin Cook looked great. I mean, I said to someone yesterday, other than maybe Saquon, when you watch Dalvin Cook, he just passes the eyeball test more than anyone. You look at him, oh my God, how does anyone stop that guy?
And Philip Lindsay, my guy.
Philip Lindsay. I like Philip Lindsay too.
Philip Lindsay.
So the thing about the Vikings here, things got back on the right track, and they ran the ball the way they wanted to, and they had a big win. They were up 21-0, then it became 21-17, and then they pulled away. I don't trust these guys one bit. I have liked them all year. I have been on their bandwagon. They were my Super Bowl pick. I was in, and I'm looking at this game like, on the road? I don't know. Because the Lions have not been bad. They've lost to a lot of good teams, and they've lost a bunch of close games. I don't think they're good. I can't say I trust that, but the Vikings giving 5 on the road, I don't think so.
So you think this is a defensive cover by the Lions?
Very possible.
They're not going to do it offensively.
Right.
So it'd have to be their defense shutting down Kirk Cousins, which is very possible. And as you've noted, more so back when the trade deadline happened and then the sample size after that, their rush defense has actually become pretty good since they got snacks.
Yes.
I'm going to have to think about it, but I'm going to take the Vikings right now because I'm a masochist and want to believe in Kirk Cousins. But yeah, there's no way is Kerryon Johnson shut down for the year?
I don't think he's shut down.
They might as well, because that's the thing. Like, I mean, Kenny Golladay can only make so many plays. And Mike Zimmer, I think, is smart enough to figure out a way to neutralize Kenny Golladay in this matchup. And then how do they get the points? How do they get the points to stay within a touchdown? It's baiting you at 5. If it was 6,
okay,
you'd have a different conversation. I'll take the Vikings right now, and we'll see what happens if Kerryon can come back, because they might just shut him down, or just always have the threat of him being active to make other teams think about it. But I just don't see enough where the Vikings are shut down for 4 quarters, despite how well the defense of the Lions is playing.
Okay. Next up, Packers-Jets.
Oh, my God.
Jets by 1, over under 43.5. Packers are 0-7 on the road, 1-5-1 against the spread. The Jets, on the other hand, have lost 7 out of 8. I got to say, you and I, Aaron Jones out for the Packers, by the way.
Capri Bibbs.
Capri Bibbs, yeah. Jamal Williams is going to get a lot of run. Jamal Williams is like, he's just a guy. He pass blocks well. He'll be on the field a ton. This game, Sam Darnold, we both kind of agree. Sam Darnold looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably, you can see there's a big light at the end of that tunnel for him.
I do find it odd that every catch Robbie Anderson made from Darnold on Saturday, he was on his knees. I thought it was weird. I go, can he stand upright and catch it?
Right.
He would like slide, like it was almost like a safety slide to stay underneath. I don't know. I just noticed that.
So I think I'm taking the Jets. I don't think the Packs are rolling over necessarily, but I think that they're not good. I've been saying all year they're not. They're 5-8-1, and they had miracle comebacks in 2 of their wins, right?
Yeah. I just won 6-9-1, and I'm taking the Packers, and I'm not even going to think about it. I'm not thinking the Jets are in a position where they should win.
Okay, that's fair.
As they build on things, and again, the Bears were the better team, and I agreed with that last week, being at home against the Packers. They weren't 5.5, which grew to 6. So it showed that there was some Packers money in there. The Packers can cover a 1 at the Jets, and if I'm wrong, I'll sleep fine with that one.
Okay. Next up, Bengals Browns.
7
Browns by 7.
Get some.
Over under 45.5. Browns are 4-1, both straight up and against the spread in their last 5.
Oh yeah, they are.
Bengals had lost 5 straight before they beat Oakland at home. Yippee! They beat the Raiders by 2 touchdowns. The Browns. Did you think they had that in them? I've kind of liked them all year, but I looked at it and went, all right, go. Last week I looked at it, I said, going to Denver and only getting 3, that's a tall order. And they did it. They're improving.
Couple things. I haven't started switching my picks on game days for a month, 2 months. I was getting burned when I was switching my picks late, where I'm like, I have this change of heart. That's the one regret I have. I felt in the after watching the Jets and the Texans, I go, I think the line moved. I don't know if you noticed that. It was Browns getting 3, and then it moved to 2.5, which means Browns money came in. So I was like, man, they might have it in them. The one thing that I looked at when I looked at that matchup was Philip Lindsay can run over the Browns' rush defense, because that defense still isn't perfect. There's some missing puzzle pieces in the middle.
Yep.
But this came down to the Broncos. I think they had it in them, because I touched on this earlier, I'm not putting enough emphasis on Case Keenum losing Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
Having to work with Patrick and Cortland, that's very young. They don't have a tight end. It's all Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman. And I don't think I put enough value on that, because that throw that Baker made on the first touchdown is a throw that I don't think I've seen a Browns quarterback made since they came back in 1999. That being said, the Bengals, as we switch the focus to how did the Bengals cover this, and again, I got the game locally here in Cincinnati. I made some nice comments about Driscoll leading into that game against the Raiders, of why I thought the Bengals would take care of business, and they did. Driscoll stinks. Like, some of those throws, I think he has Cam Newton's shoulder. I'm very concerned about Driscoll in this game, because he can't make the throw. Okay. And I was like, ooh, I missed that one, because he's making plays with his legs, and I think that blinded me to the fact that he can't make. And the Raiders' defense isn't good, right?
Right.
So when he's not making the throws to the receivers he has, Mixon's got to carry the load, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I'll take the Browns to cover the 7, which is hilarious to say a year after.
So again, just to make everybody aware, I'm going to pick the Browns to cover 2. And if we are right, the Browns will be at 500 for the season, Ryan. 500.
Kitchens, OC of the year.
Yeah. You're going to get Greg Williams back.
Oh, yeah. But he'll be defensive coordinator. I think the things you have to consider is Bountygate is still on his resume. It's hard to put him in a position of head coach with that on his resume. I think you have to consider that. Plus, it's just crazy to me. I want to know what horse tranquilizer he takes on game days. He is so calm on the sidelines compared to what we witnessed within Hard Knocks and just his reputation. He is cool, calm, and collected, which is great. I love that. I don't know how he flips that script. He's got to take some type of downer to keep him that mellow and not snap. But I think there's a lot to like about that coaching staff on top of whatever head coach they go with. If they go with Williams, okay, but it would surprise me.
Like I've been hearing that a lot. That hey, they returned him as coordinator and Kitchens, and then they Bruce Arians or whatever is one of the names.
Right.
But if he gets them to 7 wins,
I agree. I'm not going to disagree.
I don't know that it's necessarily the right thing for long term. I just think they'll probably do it.
Knowing Haslam, the owner, you're probably right. I don't know if it's the right move, but yeah, you're probably right.
All right, Rams Cardinals. Rams given 2 touchdowns at Arizona, 47.5. These teams played in week 2. The Rams won 34-0. Rams, however, won 5-1 against the spread in their last 7. The Cardinals just stink. They're bad. We talked about Gurley's injury day to day. You would think this is a game where maybe I don't get shut down, but if they're up a little bit, he gets some rest. I normally would hate to give 2 touchdowns on the road, especially with a team that's playing that is not clicking on all cylinders like the Rams, but the Cardinals are so bad.
So bad.
I don't know.
What if Todd Gurley's inactive?
I'm not giving 2 touchdowns if Todd Gurley's inactive.
I'm with you. Same.
And I might not give it anyway. The Cardinals at home, I mean, they're 3 and 4.
It's a lot of points. And here's the thing, and this was one of my deep dives of the week yesterday that I wrote up. So look back at what the Cardinals did at Kansas City. They shortened the game by running the ball. David Johnson, he can run, and I don't know why. And I know games get out of hand and they fall behind and stuff, but you look at the Kansas City game, you look at the Green Bay game, they were up 10-0 on the Chargers before they got destroyed there. And that's my fear in this game, is that the Cardinals will find a way to get a lead early. And they scored first against the Falcons last week, and then all hell breaks loose, and you just don't cover 14. But if Todd Gurley's not active, I think if you just do a steady diet of David Johnson all game, I think you can cover that 14. The other thing that creeped into the back of my head, and I don't know if they made an announcement, I didn't see it yesterday, Mike Glennon played well. Rosen needs a reality check that he's not ready. I don't care if you need to learn the final 2 weeks. Get Glennon in there, see if you have something, because he played fine. Why? Rosen's awful. He's not giving you any – and the experience he's getting is only killing – this is what happens to Cleveland Indians pitchers over the years. You throw them out there to the fire, and their confidence is completely shot. If I was Josh Rosen going into 2019, I'd be so disturbed on what's going on. There's so many variables here. If Gurley's out, I'd probably take the Cardinals. I'll still think about it. If Gurley's active, and this was 13.5 when I looked at it, so even for it to grow to 14, that's early money betting with emotion. I'm curious what this will be on game day, because I think that's just –
okay. We got 4 games to go, so let's get moving. Bears-Niners. Bears by 4 at San Francisco, over-under 43. The Niners, so straight up, they're 4-3 at home, but 0-7 on the road. They're clearly better. They've been clearly better at home. Breida came back the other day, played well. Bears, on the other hand, so it's good to say, look, 7-1 at home, 3-3 on the road. The Bears, however, they won 7 out of 8. The only loss in that stretch was the Chase Daniel game at New York, was the overtime game. The Niners, they won 2 in a row, right, against Denver and Seattle. So at home, Trubisky played well the other day. I don't know. I feel like I don't know what I'm going to get out of him. Some games.
He's the box of chocolates. Agreed.
So I mean, this line seems fair. I mean, the Bears are clearly the better team, but with their up and down road performance and the Niners' better home performance, it's closer than you'd expect for teams of varying qualities. I mean, it looks like a fair line. I'm not totally sure where I'm going.
Yeah, and I texted you over the weekend. I go, did Russell Wilson die? Because the point spread of the Niners and Seahawks, and you talked about this with Josh, you said, it went from 6.5 to 3.5 in the blink of an eye. And was that because Breida was healthy? And now Breida hurt himself again, shocker. The 49ers, I watched some of that game, and I'm like, I just don't understand how Kittle's always so open. But that's working. The Seahawks, we would agree the Seahawks defense is good, right?
Yeah.
The Bears defense is better than the Seahawks. So there's at least a conversation that the Seahawks defense have been playing well, and they couldn't cover 3.5 at San Francisco. I don't like this game at all. It's scary. It's a trap game. I hate the cliche, but I mean, this from an against the spread, this is a trap game. I think the Bears are the better team and they should win. But why did that spread last week go from 6.5 Seattle to 3.5? Swings don't do that. Point spreads don't move that many points within a 48-hour window. Now, I wouldn't touch this game. If I had to bet, I'd take the Bears.
Okay. I think I would too, but I wouldn't touch it either.
Ooh.
Saints, fun game. Saints by 6.5 is the early line. Over-under is 56.5. Steelers broke their 3-game losing streak against the Patriots. They should get James Conner back.
Do they need him?
I know. Do they? And this is the data against Le'Veon Bell is
Damning.
Is ridiculous. They've been better. They've literally been better in so many metrics without him. And it's nothing against him. It's a testament to that whole, can you find a running back easy?
Right.
So the Saints, we talked about, their offense has been sputtering lately. Is this over seems high? Over under seems high. With the way the Saints have been playing, and with as good as the Saints defense is, this seems high.
I follow you. I like it. I'm with you there. I think 56.5 is too high for where this team is, because the Patriots defense is not very good, and for the Steelers to only drop 17 on them is low.
Yep.
At home, no less.
I'm not sure where I'm going here either.
It's baiting you at 6.5.
Yeah, it's baiting me to take the Steelers.
Yeah, it's weird too, because Saints haven't been good, and they're given 6.5. Like, what?
Right.
I know they're on home, but it hasn't mattered, because I know we have to wrap this up. But Kamara, I've been I know he's got a ton of workload on him, and this is why running backs' lifespans in the NFL are not that long. But Kamara has been misused the last month, 5 weeks. I know he had to carry it all when Ingram was suspended, but Kamara is, believe it or not, is not touching the ball enough. Like, he should be getting more work, and I should be hearing his name more than we have the last couple games. It just seems like he's there, and he made some plays late last night, but throughout the course of all 4 quarters, I feel like they're trying to force it. And again, it's just the damnation of only having Thomas, Ingram, and Kamara to work with. They need another guy, and that guy has not been seen in over a month.
All right. This game, by the way, the Saints streak that we talked about, the last 4, look, the Falcons game on Thanksgiving night, they scored 27? I think it was 27. And they weren't great. The last 3, they've been on the road. They're back home.
That's true. That's very true.
I'm not sure if that's going to help them. Maybe it will. I think I'm probably going to go Saints with this one, depending on how the line moves.
Right.
Chiefs-Seahawks Sunday night. This is a nice game. Chiefs by 2.5 at Seattle. Over/under is 53.5. Kansas City 1-4 against the spread in their last 5. They're 5-1-1 against the spread on the road. Seattle had won 4 straight before they lost to the Niners on the road, but they are 4-1-1 against the spread at home. Spencer Ware, we're not sure if he's going to come back. I'm not sure how necessary it is. By the way, over this 53.5, 5 of the last 6 for both teams have gone over. You think this will be a high-scoring game?
No.
No?
I don't think it'll go over 53.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. I think that.
Here we go again, by the way, with the sun.
Yeah, that is.
We're limping to the finish here.
That is a doozy. This is why you tell me to talk faster, so we can get through before the sun comes through. Stonehenge is showing its head. No, the Chiefs have looked mortal in recent weeks. Playing at Seattle's no picnic. This Mahomes is going to get a nice taste of that. The one thing I could see, again, we talk about playing the game out in your head. Seabass, Janikowski, for the win, to not only win, but to cover the 2.5, he misses it. Like, that's what I'm like. Right. I could just see Seabass getting a chance to win it, and he blows it, because I don't think he cares anymore. I'll take the Seahawks in this spot. I just like the way they played. This is going to be a nail biter to fourth. Like, just wait till the fourth quarter. Don't even tune in early. Watch the fourth quarter, because Russell Wilson will pull a rabbit out of his head, and we'll just see what goes on there. Because that's how these games go in Seattle. It'll just be a little ugly here and there. Chiefs will score. Maybe Carson has a nice run here. It's just going to be bad early on. Watch the fourth quarter. That's where the action is.
Are you ready for the relocation here?
Ready.
All right.
And we're walking. Ooh.
I'm on the wheelchair.
You have the Chris Collinsworth slide in that everybody
slide in. Man, everybody was excited about the Chris Collinsworth slide in.
I don't get it. Like, I get that things are weird on the internet and people gravitate towards weird things. I think it's awesome, some of the Photoshop work, but I don't understand it.
All right.
That looks good.
You think so?
All the time, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I should. I just move around. All right. Finally, Broncos Raiders Monday night.
Who are you taking in Chiefs Seahawks?
I don't know.
Fair enough. Moving on.
It's too early for that one. Probably Seahawks, but I don't know.
That's why you get 2 shows. You get to make your mind up.
Exactly. It's Tuesday, like you said. It's early. Monday night, Broncos Raiders. Broncos by 2.5. Over under 45. at Oakland. So the Broncos are 6-3 against spread in their last 9. Raiders 3-7 against spread in their last 10. So the Raiders, I want to go through this. The Raiders' home schedule. Look,
I know where this is going.
I want to say up front, I don't like the Raiders, right? I don't think they're good.
I think a lot of people would admit that.
You mentioned, yeah, it's the big revelation for me. I don't think the Raiders are good. You talked earlier about the Broncos offense. Maybe we didn't give enough weight to the Broncos losing Emmanuel Sanders.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that their offense might struggle. So the Raiders' home schedule.
I know where.
So week 1, they get destroyed by the Rams.
Right.
Monday night. Okay, fine. After that, they beat the Browns in that controversial game. They lose to Seattle. They lose to Seattle 27-3. They lose to the Colts 42-28.
28 points. Not bad.
And they lose to the Chargers by 14. They lose to the Chiefs by 7. They beat the Steelers. So I know a lot of those games weren't close. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That home schedule's been kind of hard.
Agreed.
Like, I don't know if the win-loss record, and I know, like I said, they lose 27-3 to Seattle. It's not like, they're battling these good teams at home. That's not necessarily happening. I mean, did with Steelers, but I don't know. Like, the way the Broncos, after losing last week, and so the wind's out of their sails in the playoff stuff.
Vance Joseph.
Yeah, I think, and I
think
I'm going Raiders.
Yeah, me too. Completely
Really?
agree. Yeah, I think that they've competed enough that an Emmanuel Sanderless Broncos team on the road, they get clipped here. Again, unless Lindsey breaks out for 25 carries, has a Derrick Henry, that's the only way the Broncos win and cover the 2.5 here. I think that Carr has got something cooking with Jared Cook. Their running back play has been pretty bad, but I think that they put enough pieces together to scrounge together a win here. In week.
I mean, the Broncos, you look at them on the road. I mean, other than the Charger win, it's not looking great.
Case Keenum has, I know this is just his MO. He's got the Cam Newton. He can only throw so many yards down the field.
Yeah.
And again, Tim Patrick, I think, was the leading receiver because that's the name I heard the most in that Browns game. I mean, Cortland Sutton was supposed to be the better of the two, and all I'm hearing is Tim Patrick.
Right. Deshaun Hamilton's getting more touches
Deshaun Hamilton.
than Patrick, than Sutton too.
Yeah. Again, this has to be the only way the Broncos cover this game. Well, the Raiders could lose it by throwing it to Von Miller or something. But again, anybody that still thinks the Broncos defense is good is just kind of fooling themselves. I mean, the name is there with Von, but they're just look at what
the secondary's banged up. I mean,
losing Chris Harris
important.
Yeah, losing Chris Harris was not fun for them.
Right.
And that in addition to Emmanuel Sanders is kind of a 1-2 combo that took the sails out of their playoff hopes, I think. I'm going to take the Raiders.
All right, I think we're both going Raiders there. Okay. Anything else we missed? Anything you want to talk about?
Do you pay attention to bowl season in college? That's going to start picking up. Yeah, it's just a lot of I don't give a care meters. And Bryce Love of Stanford not playing in it because he wants to stay healthy for the NFL. I love that stuff. I have no problem.
You can make your picks on Pickwatch, by the way, for the college bowls.
Boom. Nice segue.
So go check that out, everybody. NFLpickwatch.com. All right. So make those picks. Make your NFL picks again. There's going to be some lines moving this week, maybe. Maybe the Giants, Colts, maybe the Falcons, Panthers. So you're going to want to keep an eye on those. You want to go make your picks anytime, NFLpickwatch.com. Check us out on Twitter. He is at Freelance Fowler. I'm at Halpin37. The main account is at Pickwatch. So I guess that's it. So Josh and I are going to be back on Friday. Now next week, Ryan, I think we're good. I don't know if we talked about this. We're looking at Wednesday instead of Tuesday because Tuesday's Christmas. So unless you want to get up Christmas morning and record with me.
I'll do it Christmas morning, but I don't want to take away Christmas from the Halpin plan.
I don't think that would fly here. My wife's very understanding and supportive. I think 9 a.m. Christmas morning on this with you recording live football.
Why don't we just have the kids on too? And we'll just chop it up.
They love it. They ask me all the time, why can't I go on your show?
See, there you go. Yeah, Wednesday's fun.
So everybody, by the way, when Ryan and I worked at Fox Sports, Ryan was my editor. right? I mean, we had a lot of times. One of the titles you were senior fantasy editor, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I had a thing a couple of months ago. I think I told you this. My daughter Abby is 14, and I always have told my kids as a writer, I'm like, everybody needs an editor. You shouldn't do things yourself. You should get them checked over. So she was writing a project, and she goes, "Can you help me?" I go, "Sure." She goes, "I want to send this thing to Ryan." I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, I'm right here. Well, he's an editor. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So
I forgot about that. That was funny. She
So
also
anyway,
made me do the ice bucket challenge.
Right. But they would love Christmas. If I said, hey, by the way, Christmas morning, we have a 9:00 show with Ryan. Do you want to do it with me? They go, yeah, of course.
Best Christmas ever.
Talk about football? Fantastic. It'd be great. All right.
But like, how much weight are we putting in week 17 picks? This is what I'm starting to get a little anxious about. Like, my anxiety is always at 100. Week 17, with all the meh going into week, I just wonder, like, should we cut off the win-loss records after 16?
I think there's money to be made in week 17 if we know the ins and outs of who's going to rest.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you get on it early, and you say, okay, this team, I mean, I'll give you an example. The Vikings are playing the Bears in Minnesota, I think, in week 17. If the Bears lose at San Francisco, I don't know if they'll have anything to play for.
Right.
And the Vikings could have a hell of a lot to play for.
Sure.
So that's one of those things that if you jump on it early, I mean, look, Vegas gets this when they set the lines. They understand. But if you jump on it early, you can get there before the tidal wave starts to flow in one direction when people realize what's going on.
I love it. Week 17 action.
Yeah. I mean, it's like fantasy football. Like two years ago, Rex Burkhead was awesome in week 17 because he was the only guy left on the Bengals. And stuff like that happens. In real football, that happens too. So
sure. Not
that Rex Burkhead's not a real football player, but you know what I
mean. We've wrapped this show up flawlessly.
Yes. All right, everybody. That's it for today's edition of Pickwatch Live. Remember, I will be back with Josh Friday mornings about 7:00 Eastern to take a deeper look and make picks for the rest of the week's 16 games. You want Ryan's picks, you can send him tweets, or you can check his picks out at NFLPickwatch.com. For Ryan Fowler, I'm John Halpin. Thanks for watching Pickwatch Live.